Squishies, welcome back to another vlog. This is Dirty Pair, the OVAs, episode 2, No Thanks, No Need for Halloween. This is a commissioned vlog for BJ. Sorry. So, this was a fun one. Halloween makes a great setting for really hijinks of any kind, but like kind of action comedy hijinks in particular. Because you have all these people in strange costumes, you have excuses to do goofy stuff with, you know, characters and references to characters. There's a lot of space for fun. And that's basically what this episode does. We get 4 gangs who each have heists they're pulling in costume, and they've each got themed costume sets going. One is dressed as Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. One is dressed as Snow White and 7 Dwarves. One is dressed as Alice, the Mad Hatter, and the White Rabbit. And one is dressed as fictional robots. Which, you know, all fun combinations. The only thing I don't really like is that they don't really do much with that. Like, they're pretty much just characters in costume. They don't do anything with, like, theming the heists in some way with the characters, or having them interact with each other in ways informed by what characters they are, or anything like that. I actually think it would be more fun if this episode were about Kay and Yuri dealing with the 4 different heists at once. Particularly if, instead of going after 4 different things, they were all going after the same thing. We could get a classic Dirty Pair kind of pile-up kind of situation. Instead, what we get is an episode-long chase that goes through a bunch of little vignettes, of which those criminals represent 4. And I just think, I mean, the indestructible super robot that does nothing but run away for most of the episode and then blows up a bunch of stuff, it's there. It's yet another appearance of the Terminator in Dirty Pair. I don't know why they're so obsessed with the Terminator. This is like the 3rd or 4th time. But I don't know. I think it would have been more fun to have kind of a big farcical pile-up instead of this series of vignettes that were entertaining enough, but there really wasn't any payoff at the end. Beating him with the fireworks makes no real sense. I mean, yes, fireworks are explosives, but compared to a rocket launcher, like, it's actually designed as a weapon, it really doesn't make sense that they'd do more damage than it did. But okay. I'll let that pass just because it's an entertaining and colorful way to end the episode. I noticed some familiar character designs. In particular, the guy leading the 40 Thieves. I don't know if it's just this era of animation and what people were doing at that time and who was popular and what was influencing what, or what, you know, or if there's some shared artists between them, but the Alibaba guy, he shows up Like, people who look exactly like him show up at least 2 or 3 times over the course of the Slayers. It's very familiar animation. And now I'm actually wondering what year the OVAs come from, because I know the series was like mid-80s. I'm wondering if the OVAs are more like early 90s, which would explain the visual similarities, because Slayers would have been just a couple years later, whereas it being almost 10 years later seems a little much, because the Slayers TV series was in 94 or 5, I want to say. Regardless, I mean, there are worse things to share character designs with than the Slayers. It had some great ones. Lots of fun references in the costumes. I definitely noticed the Ninja Turtle in there, which means this is probably not mid-80s anymore. It's late 80s, maybe early 90s. Because that would be when a Ninja Turtle reference might be expected. That's kind of the peak of their popularity. Although, then again, I don't know what their popularity was like in Japan. But yeah, I liked the carnival atmosphere. And I liked Kay and Yuri just having no idea where Halloween comes from or why we do it. Because the holiday really has no connection with its origins anymore. It's kind of become its own thing. Because it's got elements from, I'm going to mangle the pronunciation, but Samhain, and elements from traditions surrounding All Hallows Day, and hence All Hallows Eve. But really, I mean, the idea is roughly that the half-ish of the year containing Christmas and Easter is more holy than the half-ish that doesn't. And so from May through November, it's like the forces of evil are abroad. And then starting from the beginning, or May through October, I should say, and then starting from the beginning of November and running through to the early May, like, they're not. And so you get, at either end of that, you get Walpurgisnacht, which is evil's, hey, we're free again party. And then at the other end, you get Halloween, which is evil's, one last night before we have to go. And then everything with the costumes and all of that is about, there's a tradition in a lot of different cultures of children in particular putting on costumes and disguises to hide themselves from evil spirits that are said to be abroad on particular days or events or that kind of thing. And so dressing up in costumes and eating candy is pretty weakly connected to all that. And in particular, like, the shift from scary costumes to the majority of costumes being sexy, insert noun, or commercial characters that you buy costumes for. And that's not a bad thing inherently. It's just furthering the disconnect in how the holiday is celebrated now with how it was celebrated, which there's no reason that those have to be connected. There's no reason that it can't change. Everything does. And so it's not surprising that in future, people have, forgotten the origins of the holiday, and it's not a big deal. And that carnival atmosphere ties into that because it makes it feel kind of like Mardi Gras or Carnival, which the celebration side of it has taken over. What was this is our, Carnival is kind of the opposite. Those holidays are supposed to be about a celebration at the beginning of a period of, it's right before Lent. It's supposed to be, you are having a celebration because starting tomorrow you gotta be good for a while. So get it out of your system now. Which is a great concept for a holiday, honestly. And so, but what it's become, because cultures change and times change, and in particular, not everybody celebrates Lent. Not everybody's Christian. Not everybody who is wants to deal with that. So, on the other hand, a lot more people, enjoy a party than enjoy fasting or deliberately cutting themselves off from something they like or whatever it is that gets done for Lent. So the party takes on a life of its own. And that's just cultural change. And it's, it's not my scene, but it seems like a good time for people that it is their scene, and that's good. And that's kind of what really matters. So I kind of like that they gave that kind of atmosphere to this future sci-fi Halloween, where it's, fireworks and a parade and people out in the street having fun, people going out drinking, that it's basically a big citywide party. Which isn't that far off from how we celebrate Halloween now, honestly. It's a little further off from how it was celebrated in the late 80s, but it was already kind of on that trajectory. So, I think that's about it. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Patreon for early access to vlogs, essays, let's plays, and more. And I will see you all next time. Bye!